Well, Gemma, first of all, it's great to meet you. Huge congratulations. And I think I'll start off by asking, why Wales? What attracted you to this role?
Yeah, there was so many things that attracted me to the role. The passion from the team, the exciting players that that are in the team at the moment. And for me, I'm an ambassador of women's football. I love the game, and when this role came up, it was the right time. There was a number of things about the values within the Welsh Association were particularly aligned to my values, and that's really important to me. And I'm just really excited to get to work with the players.
Yeah, you've mentioned the players. I think it's fair to say, in terms of the squad, you're inheriting perhaps the strongest squad Wales has ever had. How much does that excite you?
Yeah, that's probably the most exciting thing. Having spoken to some of the players already, and I'm planning to speak to the rest of the team, in the next couple of weeks. It's the most exciting thing. The players that we have here and maximising their potential is my number one priority. Making sure that we get the very best out of those players, for the team.
You've mentioned the players, of course. You've been across the WSL, the Championship, keeping an eye on those leagues for a number of years now. We've got a few players playing in those leagues. Are you impressed with what you've seen from them over the past few seasons?
Yeah, absolutely. I watch the WSL, the Championship, week in, week out, and a lot of football. And I think that the players that impress me, in all of the teams, it's exciting. They're a group of players who are really mixed in terms of where they're at in their journey, and I'm just excited to start working with them.
Yeah, and just to touch on yourself, really, a lot of people probably won't be familiar with your career. Can you talk us through, what your journey's been like and what have you been up to all these years?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I've been coaching now for 20 years. I'm 38. Some people don't think I'm 38. I have a very good beauty regime that I am willing to share. But I think it's really important to, for me, women's football has been my passion from day one. I started off coaching at Middlesbrough football in the community, and for me, my journey's been very deliberate. It's been very thought out in terms of having experiences, not rushing it, taking it, step by step to get to the very highest level. And, I've planned it really carefully to get to this point to be ready. I've been to 7 major international tournaments, in the last 11 years. And that's the experience that I want to bring to this team. That qualification experience is so important to me.
Absolutely. I'll have your beauty regime if that's all right, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with me. In terms of your time with the FA then, a number of years working over in England, I bet that's been invaluable to your development.
Yeah, absolutely. 11 years as an international coach. International coaching is very different to club coaching in terms of the expectations, understanding what it takes to qualify for a tournament and how fine the margins are. That's the experiences that I've been involved in, whether that's with youth teams or with the senior team. And that's what I really want to bring into this role, those experiences, those standards, and really help, to take this team forward to qualifying for a major tournament.
Yeah, you've mentioned your 7 major tournaments. The main goal for Wales is to get to a major tournament, and I'm assuming that'll be absolutely top of your priority list over the next few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of the 4-year plan is, first of all, the World Cup qualification campaign, then moving into the European Championship campaign, and that is the goal. And the processes that we put in place are going to be the most important thing. How we focus on what we do. Our mentality, our approach, and really getting the best out of both staff and players. And I'm really looking forward to developing the next chapter.
Yeah, Jane Ludlow, of course, did some fantastic work in really building not only the team but the environment here at the FAW. I'm assuming that's something that you're absolutely really looking forward to do, is building on all the fantastic work that Ludlow's done. Yeah,
absolutely. The foundations, that are in place, it's so important to build on them. From an on the pitch point of view, but also from an off the pitch point of view. We've got a goal to qualify for a major competition, and that's important to us. But also how we grow the game in Wales. I'm hugely passionate. I'm an ambassador for the game that I love, and I want to inspire young girls, in whatever capacity that is. We know that qualifying for a tournament can be a catalyst for that, and it'll be one part of it, and it'll be very much my focus. But the other side, and the building our community and our fan base, is something that I'm so looking forward to. Meeting people at games and welcoming people into the games.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to touch on Ludlow's work, she worked across all the different age groups here at the FAW. Is that something that you see your role will involve as well? Because I know you've worked with all ages throughout your career, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure. So that is something that I'm familiar at doing, of working across the age groups. It's something that I've got a lot of experience in, and I do see my role, building a pathway here, an aligned pathway is a big part of my role. I mean, first and foremost, the senior team, and making sure that we put the plans in place to be successful, and meet the ambitions. But yeah, very much a part of that aligned pathway from under 15s right the way through to senior women, because it's not just about the next 4 years. It's about how we build for the future, and that health line of players coming through is such an important part of the journey.
And what can we expect from a Gemma Grainger team?
I think the biggest thing for me around my philosophy is maximising people's strengths, and when I work with staff and players, that's the number one priority for me. So people who come into an environment and us having a really clear identity about who we are and how we do things, and that's something that I'm so excited to speak to the players and staff about, but ultimately create an environment where we maximise people's strengths, because I know that's going to be the key to success. So a Gemma Grainger team will be a big part of maximising the players' strengths and building for the future.
In terms of staff, have you had conversations in terms of what your backroom team might look like?
Yeah, so those conversations have started. I mean, this is kind of day one. There's a camp in 3 weeks' time. So in terms of that April camp, my priority is to bring some staff in to work in the April camp, the best staff, and then moving forward, it's something that I'll assess, for the future camps. I've had some really good conversations with Lauren Dykes. Lauren's going to be a key part within this team. Lauren, retiring and moving into her coaching role, she's going to be a valuable part of the work that we do, and the hope is that Lauren and I can work closely. Certainly in the April camp, Lauren will be with the team, and I'm looking forward to starting those foundations and building blocks.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I have to ask you this just because I'm a Swans fan. Yeah. I know you know Steve Cooper quite well from your time at the FA. He's only down the road now. He's down the M4. Is he someone that you'll turn to advice for occasionally?
He is, absolutely, yeah. I said, I will be giving him a call. I probably need to let him get this weekend out of the way first. So we'll let that happen, and then, I will be speaking to him. But not only Steve, the staff as well that Steve, is working with at Swansea. They're people who I'm very familiar with. And I think Steve is one of the things that, when I worked with Steve at the English FA, the time that he always had for me and the support that he always had for the things that I wanted to do. He's such a progressive manager, and he doesn't know it yet, but I will be going to Swansea and I will be speaking to him regularly. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, it'll be great to have you there. We'll definitely welcome you to Swansea anytime, Gemma.
Thank you.
Just quickly, you mentioned that you were really impressed with the whole interview process here at the FAW. Are you impressed? I know you've only been here for a couple of days, but are you impressed with what you've seen so far?
Yeah, the facilities here are fantastic. In terms of the offices here at Hensel, and the facilities both in the indoor and outdoor area, they're world-class facilities. I've only been here for a couple of days, but the number of teams that are around, the environment here is built on the professional teams. The Welsh rugby team are on site. There's Cardiff City here, and it's a real feel of the facility for me sets standards in terms of our expectations, the way that we want to progress and where we want to go. These facilities are going to be a big part of that, and it's just so exciting to see them, and I'm just excited to get on that pitch behind me and do some coaching.
And just finally, Australia, New Zealand 2023, will Wales be there?
Absolutely. Our number one goal is to put a process in place to qualify for that tournament. It's not going to be easy. We're third seeded in a group, so in terms of our focus, we'll be controlling what we can control. The draw's on the 30th of April. I'm excited for that date. I'm excited to set a real mentality and a real standard here to start that qualification campaign the right way.
Thank you, Gemma. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr.